What's up, African Fight Fam? It's your boy JB back again at it with another episode of the African Fighters podcast. Yes, today it's not just me. I've got my colleague and my brother from the King Dems podcast, ladies and gentlemen. It is Demola Ademola King Dems, President, Israel Adesanya Fans Club. Bro, I'm jumping. I'm swallowing my words today. I apologize about that. What's up, Dems? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Wow. Last night was fireworks. Fireworks. I'm doing great,
Oh
man.
yes. Let me sip some tea. All right, we've got Toby on the pod as well, but he's having internet issues at this point in time. But he is going to join us, and for the first time ever, the African Fighters podcast is making a debut on Instagram Live. I believe we should be live on Instagram at this point. Just looking it up. Please feel free to chime in if you're joining us from Instagram Live. Feel free to drop some comments. Hopefully, we'll get to see through this StreamYard gimmick. I don't know how StreamYard does it, but anyways. All right, guys. Yeah, today, there's quite a lot to talk about. First of all, shout out to Christopher Graham. Shout out to the fellows, the African gang in our Patreon. Please feel free to join our Patreon. When you do, you would have the pleasure of being one of the people on the show, or you would also have the pleasure of dropping your comments or dropping your questions, topics that we could discuss up here. Without any further ado, I'm just going to tell you guys what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about Dricus still knocks Duplessis and all the shenanigans that has been going on. Him and Sean Strickland, who is the middleweight champion as well, of course, of the UFC, across the weekend, because there's a lot to talk about, a lot to digest. Over the weekend, UFC 296, there isn't any African on the card per se, but obviously it was a very, very mouth-watering event, and so we have some talking points from that as well. And I'm sure King Dems cannot wait to talk about it. But we have to start with our boy Dricus from South Africa, right? Yeah, so where do we start from? So
That was the fight of the
there
night.
there
That
was
was the fight
there
of the
was
night.
right. To be honest, I was more excited about those
Yeah.
exchanges than
Fight
the
of the
fight
night
night
I
itself.
watched.
And they did this thing called a seasonal press conference. So that is a couple of main events of the upcoming pay-per-view will be pulled together. So there'll be a press conference and then they'll try to sell those fights. Obviously, that would work in UFC's favor because there isn't any marquee star on any of those cards. It's they are MMA they are MMA stars, but not really, really superstars like Dricus, like Sean Strickland, uh, maybe Volk a bit, Toporia, Sugar Show. What am I talking about? They are all stars. Um, yeah. So that happens. That happens. That happened in the build to UFC 296. The press conference happened, and it was entertaining as heck. Well, we had the loose cannon, who is Sean Strickland, up there, and you know the amount of things that he's going to talk. Sean Strickland has no filter on his mouth. Sean
Zero.
Strickland, I bet you, if you put a counter for the F word that he said in the press conference, F word upon F word, he probably said F word 500 times before the press conference finished. Because I was listening to a broadcast that was bleeping the heck out of the F words, and I couldn't hear a word that Sean Strickland was saying. It was bleeping this, bleeping that, bleeping this. But let's go into that real quick, right? So a couple of things happened in that press conference. We saw Sean Strickland constantly attack Dricus for his sort of like relationship with his coach, Maron Visa, that is, Dricus's coach, which has, I think it's probably a South African culture or something, where they kiss each other in the mouth. And we've seen that with Cameron Simon, and we've seen that with Dricus, where they just kind of like kiss in the mouth. But Um, sort of like the Arabians, they kiss on the cheeks and stuff. I really don't know. South Africans will probably have to explain that to me if it's a thing for them down there. But Sean Strickland could not shut up about it. I remember I was counting the amount of times that he was bringing it up about, he was talking about Dricus and his coach being in a sexual relationship. He spoke about that like 5 times before before Dricus dropped his comeback. All right, so I'm gonna tell you guys exactly what Dricus says. I pulled a quote here from sportskeeda.com. This is Dricus after the fifth time that Sean Strickland mentioned him and his coach in a sexual manner. So Dricus said, "Bro, why are you so angry? You think your dad beat the shit out of you? Your dad doesn't have shit on me. I'm going to show you what it's like to get bitten. Every childhood memory you have is going to come back." So if you don't know, Sean Strickland had opened up in the past about his violent, I guess, his violent father and his upbringing where he got his ass kicked a lot. And this is what Dricus was referencing to. And then Sean Strickland, a triggered Sean Strickland then came back with, I quote, I will take your effing soul. You understand me? You effing P word? That is, I don't know if I can say it. Yeah, you did hit a nerve, you effing biatch. That's what he said to Dricus. All right, so a lot of people have been saying Strickland is no saint, right? Everybody knows him to be a loose cannon. He talks whatever he wants to say, and a lot of time people turn their face the other way because they'll just the response to whatever he says is, "Oh, it's Strickland. He's crazy," and then he gets away with saying the most outrageous things that would get a normal celebrity to get cancelled. Strickland cannot get cancelled because it's Strickland. So um that's sort of like the sentiment around MMA world. They'll be talking about how uh well Strickland cannot complain. But first of all, let me take your reaction with the press conference in general. What did you think?
Wow. So for me, Bride, I don't like crossing sensitive lines. I don't like to, and of course, too low, two wrongs do not make it right. Right? When you go low, it's actually not a good thing to go lower. So the press conference, it was really crazy. We know who Strickland is, right? But then it's not acceptable. Let me put it that way. Like there are some lines that are not meant to be crossed. Religious lines, family lines, political lines. I like to stay off those lines. Do not cross.
Yeah, well, there is also a press conference that happened with Colby Covington. I guess we'll talk about that in a segment later in the show where Colby went way, way, way over the board with when he was trying to sell his fight with Leon Edwards. We get to that. But yes, my opinion about this, right? You know, my opinion might be biased because I'm an African and obviously I'm rocking with Dricus because I believe if Dricus takes that title, which I believe he certainly will, he is going to bring a fight night to or a pay-per-view to Africa. So
Yeah,
our glorious dream of UFC Africa would certainly come to fruition with if Dricus does actually win that title. That's what I think. That's one. So obviously I'll be biased with this, but I've never been a fan of Sean Strickland. I just see him as an entertainer, even though I cringe so many times when he speaks because, like, from that press conference, again, the amount of f bombs he dropped was so much for any broadcast. Um, yeah. So let's bring Toby in here. Hopefully his internet connection will hold up. What's up, Toby? How you doing?
I'm good. Good evening, guys. What's happening?
Why do you always have to make a late entry into the show? Eh? Why do you always have to do this? Anyways, guys,
Toby, what's up?
we are not going to waste our time on Toby. All right, Toby, catch up,
Yeah,
okay?
damn.
So, I think Dricus went overboard. Uh, We've got Courageous Empire here saying the sport is filled with hypocrites. Crazy how Strickland couldn't handle the taste of his own medicine. And I still see Strickland beating Dricus. Oh boy. Okay. Courageous Empire still think Strickland beats Dricus. I think that's outrageous. I think Dricus finishes him. I don't think we'll get to see the Georges card, but I guess we'll do that when it gets to prediction time. But um did any of you see a post that Dricus did where he caught a clip? I think it's from an interview with Sean Strickland, where Sean Strickland was saying people should get more beaten by their dads. I don't know if he's trying to do dark humor or dark joke or laughing at his own misery, but if you are capable of saying those sort of things, you shouldn't be triggered by situations like this. Will you not agree? I think Toby, can you give us your 2 cents about the press conference between Dricus and Sean Strickland? Do you think Sean Strickland went over the board? Okay, we lost Toby, so I'm never asking Toby again. All right, let's segue to fight night.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to quickly put in something, right? Like I said earlier, if a person goes low, do not go lower, right? They both went overboard, right? And it is what it is. So we can move on with that.
I swear I don't fault Dricus at all, because at the top of this segment, I did say that Dricus did actually was holding back of using that missile, because when you're coming to press conferences like this, you've already predetermined what your opponent is going to fire at you, and in your head you've already predetermined what your response is going to be. And I'm pretty sure Dricus was holding his own ammo to his heart that I'm going to bring up his violent relationship with his father. But then Sean Strickland kept on attacking. At some point, he even used the F word. He called him and his coach the F word and saying they should go to the back and do it. He constantly berated at Dricus 5 times. 5 times before Dricus just mentioned this one thing. It's almost like I hate to say this, because people will say I'm sexist. So I'll just leave it.
Do not get cancelled.
Yeah.
Do not get cancelled,
okay.
my man.
Okay. I'm not gonna get cancelled, but it's like when you are arguing when a woman is coming at you, oh you this, oh you that, oh you this, and then you turn around and be like, you look like you are 50 years old, right? That is like the end of it. Like, you went there. How dare you take it over there? Do you understand? So it's sort of like that with Sean Strickland. He was going on and on and on and on about Dricus' relationship with his coach. But once Dricus just mentioned his dad and beating him like his dad, my guy went like, oh, struck a nerve. Yes, I'm gonna take your soul. Blah blah blah. But I think if these guys actually prepared coming to the show that, okay guys, let's try to sell our pay-per-view in Toronto, what are we going to do? You mentioned this and I mentioned this, and maybe on the fight night we sit next to each other and we brawl. If that was their plan, I'm telling you, it worked 100%, because a lot of people that never cared about that fight certainly do now. Right now, a lot of people would buy that pay-per-view because of the antics that happen now. So
what they can't sell the fight, man. And
yeah, Toby, what do you think?
I mean, I agree with you on this one. For me, I was just thinking that, this is just another fight. Let's just see who's going to become champion at the end of the day. But both of them have played their part in making this fight very, very interesting. Now, I can't wait to see the fight. I want to be like, okay, what's going to happen? Who's the bigger man? But let's see.
Hi, Toby, you and your internet connection. Yeah, I bet everybody heard what you said. But let's segue to Fight Night. Fight Night UFC 296 clips, different angle clips, videos start coming up of Sean Strickland jumping into, I think they were like 2 rows apart. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a pictorial representation of what happened, and I'm sure everybody that sees this podcast already seen it. So you know when the UFC do like the cameos, the celebrity seat cameos. So they did Dricus, and then they pan out to Strickland. They did it like the way they shoot The Office. If you watch The Office TV show, camera on this guy's face, and then camera moves to this guy's face while Dricus was still in shot. So that was a very beautiful video work. So they did Dricus and then they did Strickland, and they still maintained Dricus still in shot, so we could see both guys without them awkwardly standing next to each other. So they put them across each other. And again, because of that camera angle as well, and the way the sitting arrangement is, still makes me think that this might have been predetermined. Because a lot of people are overlooking these tiny details. Because if I was in the production room and be like, how do we get these guys on the big screen and get them to brawl, right? It doesn't make sense to put them sitting side by side, right? It only makes sense for them for the camera to be able to take one shot that would have both of them on the shot. So that means that one of them would have to be sitting behind the other. So they just put them 2 rows apart, or maybe it's just a row apart. Do you understand? So I actually do think maybe there might be a chance that this was scripted. But regardless, what happened was after the camera panned away, we could see with the gestures that Dricus was kind of like, look at me or talk to me or face me. You're facing away or something. And then Sean Strickland asked some kid that was sitting behind him to move away.
That's Gilbert Bond's son.
Yeah, and then he stepped on a seat and jumped and launched himself on Dracos and dropped some elbows, and it was just a scuffle. It was just a scuffle, but it got people talking, and I am surely pumped to see this fight. What do you think, Demola? And
In terms of
who the heck among you has something playing in the background?
that is Toby.
Probably me. Give me a minute.
That is Toby.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so in terms of the antics, right? I do not think it's scripted. I do not think it's scripted, right? But then I feel like the organizers, the guys in charge of that when I say organizing, they had a hand in this thing, right? How convenient is it for you to put these guys? These guys are enemies, right? They're sworn enemies, and then you put Dricus behind Strickland. We all know Strickland is a loose cannon, right? But then it is what it is. They're trying to sell the fight, because when you look at the two of them, they aren't like really big draws, the two of them. So they need to find a way in which you put these guys in a heated atmosphere where they can have that natural interaction. So in terms of scripting, no, but in terms of setting them up for being in a heated environment, yes, that is the deliberate effort, and great work. Kudos to the team for doing that. It's just like being in a room with Colby Covington. When you're going to fight Colby, Colby will always do something to provoke you. So they knew there was that chance of provocation, and that's why you can see the security were able to come in, quite fast to to settle the whole situation. But then it was fun seeing it, and it has the eyes of casuals on that fight right now. So people want to see that fight. People want to know the outcome. And that's how to get eyes to what the fights. That's how to sell pay-per-views.
So another thing is another angle you can look at this is a very, very bad look for the UFC. A lot of people do know the story about how how long it took for the UFC to actually be legalized across the 50 states of America and across the world as well. So people look at the sports like, oh, the fighters, they are animals, they cannot control themselves. So this sort of narrative of the fighters being animals is something that the UFC fought very hard to curb, right? And then we've got now a champion that is putting innocent people's lives in danger. Okay, I'm trying to be a diplomat here, right? So there were kids around there, and then starting a brawl like that.
He told the kid to move. If you watch that video very well, he told that child just move.
But where would the child go? Where would the child go? Because it was It's a
Do
crowded
you
space.
understand?
I remember they also had Donald Trump there. You know the important people that they had there. It's not a good look. I think it's very, very horrible. I think I think the UFC are tired of Strickland being a champion, to be honest. And I think everything that the company that or the business needs in a champion, Dricus has it, and I think Dricus will be a better champion. However, I think Easy will be the best champion, but I think Dricus will certainly be a better champion and the face of a brand.
This
What
is
do you
the
think,
height
Toby?
of bias. This is the height of bias, bro.
Yeah, man. Toby, what you think? Abi Toby know they hear us. Oh gosh. I swear it's
I,
starting to get
you,
frustrating with Toby, I swear, with
you,
his internet
you
connect.
just did you just did comparative and superlative bias. Comparative in terms of Dricus, superlative in terms of easy. Well done, my man.
Bro, I'm Nigerian. I'm African, but I'm Nigerian first. Even in Nigeria like this now, if there was another fighter that is from Sokoto State, right, that could be a champion, I would rather that fighter be champion than Easy.
Okay, but
And
then
then
how do
is
you felt? How do you felt if Usman had actually beaten Chimaev, right? And now being in line for the middleweight title and Easy is sitting out, how would you felt?
I think it would have been okay. I think if they come back and scrap together, they probably would come and do it for the money. They'll come back and fight for the money. I think they would.
So you think Easy
Uh,
would have Usman?
I think they would fight. I think they would fight. Courageous stays Easy is undisputed. No one comes close. All right. Let's segue to the main event of 296, right? And before the main event to 296, a lot happened this week, and we did not have a chance to like talk about it because it was in the press conference. Colby, everybody knows Colby and his pro wrestling shtick, where he tries so hard to be a heel, to be a bad guy, and says a lot of nonsense. So yeah, so said he brought up something about Leon Edwards' dad. He said he's going to take Leon to hell where he would meet his father, which I appreciate good heel work, right? Everybody knows me. I'm the pro wrestling guy. I'm actually wearing a wrestling t-shirt right now. And everybody knows that I understand what heel work works and what gimmick is. But to be honest, I think this was very, very distasteful. It was very, very silly. Anybody that says Kobe is in character, it's actually very, very stupid. Because here's the thing. In pro wrestling, every promo that happens in the ring or backstage is already predetermined. You cannot just come and start uh, pouring out sensitive things about your opponent without clearing it with the opponent and whoever the bookers of the pro wrestling company is. So in this case, this is not pro wrestling, and there's a limit. There's a limit to these things. And I think, well, we saw how the fight went, right? And let's get into the fight. Uh we've got Femba in the building. Temba fresh out of collecting an award from the World MMA Awards. Congratulations, Temba. Um Courageous says Kobe is terrible human being. All right. So to be honest, I think it was very again, it was very, very distasteful by Kobe. I would accept all the levels that you can go to generate heat, right? But to just mention someone's dad that did not even die of natural causes, that was actually murdered, is is actually very, 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 very horrible. And we saw that with when Kobe fought Usman. He was calling Usman's dad a criminal because he spent some time in prison. And later on, he was like, I'm trying to sell the fight for us, blah, 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 blah. But
That's the lowest of lows. That
yeah, it
was
was,
the
but
lowest of
Usman,
lows.
Usman's own was a bit okay, fine, fine. It's not as horrible as
Yeah, the Leon one
the
is
Leon.
the lowest. Like that's actually very
But here's the
disappointing.
thing. Here's the thing. A lot of people who did not intend to buy that pay-per-view did end up buying that pay-per-view to see Kobe's ass get kicked. right? They wanted to see,
Exactly.
oh, okay, Leon has to knock this guy out for him to bring his dead dad. I think that did sell the fight, but again, the method at which the fight was sold was horrible. To some people, money is not everything. But what do you think? What do you think? You're leaving me to ramble here.
Exactly. I need to leave you to express your thoughts on the situation because I was utterly disappointed. Like I said, it's the lowest of lows. I've always tried to justify and rationalize, things that Kobe does, right? Because damn, he brings eyes to the sport. I can remember was a way back, maybe the last time he fought Usman, right? I was in the office one day, and then somebody came to me, knowing me as a UFC guy, like, who's that guy that's got a big mouth? That's always insulting everybody. That guy, I would like to watch the fight. Please, where is the fight? And that is what he does to casuals. They always name him as that guy that is talking smack, and they would love to see him get beaten, right? I think even the Masvidal fight as well, right? A lot of people came to me be like, "Who is this guy?" So it does; those gimmicks do sell fights, but like I like to say, I don't like crossing family lines, religious lines, political lines. They are too sensitive, and this is very, very. I don't know, regardless of whatever culture you come from. I am African, I am Nigerian, I am Yoruba. We respect the dead a lot, right? And you do that, it's a no no. It's a no no, and I think he should still apologize. He should
Hmm.
apologize, a
Well, here
public
we
one.
go. Tumbosun says, not gonna lie, that fight had me slipping in the first half. All right, let's talk about the fight, right? Um, let's be honest. Colby is starting to look his age, right? He is what, 35, 36,
35, 35,
and
35 years young.
in that fight, he looked very slow, slower than we know. Because a lot of people, Kobe now. His style of fighting is Kobe puffy hands, right? He goes pa, 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 pa. Not very strong punches, but volume, volume, volume. We know that's what we know Kobe with, right? And then the
He looked
chain
timid.
wrestling, and then yeah. But
He
then
looked timid.
this fight, he appeared to be slow in the striking exchanges. He was not even attempting to do much wrestling in the first and second round. And it got me wondering, is it that he's slow because he is aging, or are there some things that happened? Wait, actually, three things, right? Is he aging? Is he getting old? Are there some things that happened in camp prior to the fight that we have no idea about? Two, maybe a bad knee or bad knees. Three, was Leon just too good that he shut down all of Kobe's offense and he was too quick for Kobe to be able to make a good read? What do you think?
Who goes first? Toby, you've not spoken in a while. Do you want to go first? Toby. Okay.
Hope
I
you know
think
they
I'll
hear
go.
us.
I
Uh-huh.
think I'll go on that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned a couple of factors. Let's break it down. Number one, Leon has actually improved significantly over time, and you guys are not giving him his credit. People are not giving him, kudos for the trajectory he has been on, right? Leon keeps improving, and we ought to give him credit for that. Number two, Kobe. This was not the Kobe that we all know. It's not the Kobe I know. I did not expect, these from Kobe, right? I actually expected Kobe to win that fight, to be honest, but it is what it is. Another thing is, I think the ring rust, the octagon rust played a factor. When was the last time we saw Kobe fight, right? So if you've not done something for a while, right, you either use it or you lose it, right? That's something with skill, with talent, right? And Usman even said it as well. At some point you start losing that confidence. So I feel like he did not have the confidence, right, when he was in that octagon. Then number three, the game plan. I don't know whatever the game plan was, right? But then he should have actually rushed um Leon in the first round. But they were gauging when you look at how the fight played out, both of them were trying to gauge their tempos, their pace. And then Colby discovered that Leon was too fast for him. And number three, I don't know, I've even lost my count, right? Another factor is the fact that Colby was not willing to take risks. He wasn't willing to take risks because he in the past, you've seen Colby is willing to eat two to give one, eat three to give two, right? But then he discovered that Leon is a sniper. Leon was very efficient in his striking. And then Leon has even improved in his grappling as well. So you would see that even when Colby shot for the takedown, I think in round 2 or round 3, Leon made sure he had his own takedown as well. So he's trying to prove a point that I can match you skill for skill. And credit to Leon. He's done a really, really great job. He is a well-rounded fighter now. He's highly improved. And seeing him match up against the other guys, I think he will really do well to cement his legacy. Kudos to him.
All right. Let's get into what's next for Colby Covington, right? He called out Wonderboy. Wonderboy just got finished by Shavkat Rakhmanov. And, well, there are 3 options that were suggested by Christopher Graham via our Patreon. You could join our Patreon as well, please. Thank you. There's a Wonderboy fight. Colby wants to come back early next year. There is the Kamaru Usman Trilogy, which could headline any pay-per-view. Then there is the Gilbert Burns fight. He's never fought Gilbert Burns before. All right. So inside these 3 fights, which one una think say is more likely to happen? I'll go Toby first. Toby, if you dey hear us, can you raise your hand if you are hearing us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, answer the question, I beg, real quick.
Okay. For me, I think the Usman trilogy is what appeals most to me. UFC 300 is around the corner. If there's anybody I think Usman can still beat, for me, it's Colby Covington. That's a fight that I'll still want to see. So yeah, that's the best fight for me as a fan. That's what I want to see.
Damn, see you, Uncle.
I think Toby is talking from a quite biased perspective, right? But then you're speaking about Covington from an Usman perspective. But then I will be speaking about Covington from a Covington perspective, right? If I were Covington's manager and then you give it these 3 names, the clear-cut favorite would be Wonderboy, right? So like I said previously when I was analyzing the fight, I don't think Colby is washed. I don't think Colby did not even take damage in that fight. I don't think Colby was slow. I only think he did not have that confidence, right? So he needs a tune-up fight. And that's the thing with staying active. If you stay active, you have it in you, right? And then you have that confidence in you. So I think easily he would be able to beat someone like Wonderboy and gain his confidence back, then probably fight another top 5 ranked contender and make another run for the title.
But the thing is, prior to Colby fighting Leon, he has not fought anybody apart from Usman that is still even that was still in the UFC or still in the top 10. Colby. So something that we have understood is that Colby does not like he enjoys staying out. He enjoys taking his time before he fights, right? So I don't think he's waiting to fight a young and coming upcomer. I think he would want to get the big fights. And to be honest, I think him and Usman would be a main event of any pay-per-view. That is a non-title fight.
But then that is high risk for him because come on, this guy's beating you twice. So what?
He is 35. He's 35. I beat 36.
Do you guys really see Colby making another title shot? I don't see Colby getting another title shot.
Yes, he can. Yes, he can. He looked fresh. He looked fresh as a daisy in that octagon, right? He has not accumulated a lot of damage. If Glover Teixeira could win at 42, come on, Colby can do something.
But it's the welterweights. And there's like a very, very solid record. There is a record. There is a sloppy records among welterweights about like people aged 35 not winning fights. That's because of the skill level. The skill level in welterweights is not very, very nice on people that are aging. So maybe if he moves
Okay,
to middleweight,
GSP, Michael Bisping, they were at welterweight and then they still did well towards the end of the career. So
But there's a
oh,
list
Bisping
of
was a
young
middleweight,
guys. There's a
yeah,
was
list
a
of young
middleweight
guys
champion.
who.
he was a middleweight champion, but at some point he fought welterweight as well. So those
I
But
guys,
don't think it
he
makes
got
any
more
sense for the
success.
UFC to
He got
do
more
that.
success when he went to middleweight. So Colby
yeah,
should
when he
move
went
to
up.
middleweight. Yeah,
Okay,
if
and
he
another
there are
option.
probably fresh matchups there.
Oh, I was thinking about this as well, right? So Kobe mentioned that he fights at his natural weight class. There is the possibility of Kobe going down to 155 to terrorize those boys there. There's still a lot Kobe can do in the sport. And I believe that if he's willing, to go down to 155, he has a very strong chance of becoming a champion easy at 155. That is also a possibility.
Okay, let's move on. What is next for Leon Edwards, guys?
Legendary
Uh,
status.
Leon Edwards definitely the UFC would not let him to fight in the middleweight to try to get another title because first of all he's very very unmarketable. Um, we know that Usman got his most fans when he fought Colby twice, right? That's when he started because Usman wasn't very likable in the beginning, right? But now Leon fought Colby, but he went into that fight. He came out of that fight the way he went into that fight.
Why do you
Um,
think so?
I'm not. I'm not seeing anyone being like, "Oh my God, Leon was incredible against Kobe." I'm not seeing anybody going like that. I'm not seeing Leon winning over any fans.
Don't say that to English
Um,
lads, man. Don't say that to English
oh
lads,
come on.
mate. The love
Even
Leon. The love
even the
Leon,
English
mate.
guys go no. Even the English guys go no. But and then Leon Edwards also said he doesn't want to fight Bilal Mohammed, which is very funny. Like I
He
don't get it.
doesn't want to.
Why are guys avoiding him? I understand if they fight Bilal and Leon will probably be the lowest pay-per-view sale for any welterweight main event because welterweight has always been like a star-studded division. I think if Bilal and Leon fights, that pay-per-view will not do well. But regardless, he doesn't want to fight Bilal. He said Bilal has to wait, blah 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 blah. And
Right.
from the press conference, you can tell that Leon is satisfied of sitting out for another year again. So that's another reason why I'm not a very big fan. He is boring, right? When it comes to marketability, he's very boring. Two, he's okay with sitting out without fighting. That irks me a lot because that's what boxing is. Boxing, all these guys, they fight once a year or once every 2 years. And that's what Leon is doing. Even before he became a champion, as a contender, he's okay with saying, I don't want to fight this guy. There was a point that the UFC took him off the contenders list because he refused to take a fight. And when he saw that he was threatened to leave, to be cut out from the company, he then accepted to fight Chimaev that one time. That fight that fell, of course, Chimaev had COVID. So he's comfortable. He lives in Birmingham, yeah, bro. He's comfortable where he is at. He's a king in his gym, and he's satisfied with fighting once every 2 years. And that is so annoying because the division will not move. Are you not seeing tweets now that people are talking about, oh, we missed Kamaru Usman because Kamaru was out there fighting all challengers.
Uh, so the active
So
champion, right? But then
hence
let's see what
why
the UFC is able to do.
I'm not a Leon Edwards fan. He's striking, incredible striking. If you ask me who is going to beat him, I don't know because I see him beating anybody. But at least let's see him fight because I promise you, before he fights, he's probably going to fight in the third quarter of next year. He's not going to fight.
Why?
He's not
Why
going to fight.
are you like this?
He's
Let
not
me
going to
bring
fight in
something to
summer.
you. Let me bring something to your attention, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Bilal Mohammed was the backup fighter for UFC 296. And what does that tell
Mm-hmm.
you? Anytime somebody is a backup fighter, the UFC like to reward that person with the next title shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct? Good. Now, UFC London, right, usually happens around June, anytime I think between March, June, July,
Bro,
right?
if UFC
So
London happens, they are not going to put him. They'll have another champion that the people actually like, Tom Aspinall. They are going to put Tom Aspinall where? Because he's going to sell more pay-per-views than Leon Edwards.
and who is Tom Aspinall going to fight? Remember, as an interim champion.
He's if he fights Cyril Gane or anybody in the heavyweight main events are always bangers.
Yeah, but then
See,
like
everybody knows this. Be a champion and go to the press conference and show zero interest about fighting somebody. Even when there is a clear-cut number one contender, you are still curving the fight. So, how can you guys not see what I'm seeing? He's just comfortable. He's
comfortable. What I am saying is that Leon does not call the shots, right? The UFC calls the shots. Uncle
yeah,
Dana,
they forced his hands, yeah.
Fight Covington, right? And then trust me, if Uncle Dana wants him to fight in the summer, right? They will tell him you either fight or you would have to vacate this belt. You know, he can be stripped.
There's a lot of love. There's a lot of love for Shavkat in the comment section. Bro, that guy, yeah.
That was the name on my lips, right? If you're asking for one person that can beat Leon in my head, that's Shavkat. That guy is
Shavkat is very lovable. He's very likable at this point. Apparently, his coach, Henry Hooft is his coach, yeah. His coach, apparently, he fought with a bad leg. He was supposed to pull out. Hence why his fight was the way it was when he submitted Wonder Boy. Apparently, he was fighting on one leg, and he refused to pull out because he wanted to fight. That guy is 18-0, and all 18 na finishes, submission by knockout, everything they do. That boy is a problem, but I know how the UFC they work. They are not going to put him on now. They'll give him somebody first to fight that is going to be Omo. They'll have to give him somebody first.
Who do you think they're going to give him? Because I know Bilal is fighting for the title next.
But because Shavkat can't jump Bilal, I'm not mad if he does, but I just think the UFC will do that. Nah. Bilal is definitely next. But it's one of those fights that the UFC will be like, come, let's just get this fight out of the way. Let's just give this guy what he deserves, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because he does this. If this fight, you expect him to kill somebody, he's on a streak. He's on a winning streak, and then he's beating all comers, right? He's not rejected any fights, and of course, even Gilbert Burns. Even in that what's it called, fight against Gilbert Burns. Remember at the press conference, himself and Gilbert Burns, they asked Dana that the winner of this fight is this person going to be guaranteed the title shot, and Dana agreed on the spot. And we all know Dana is a man of his words. So we'll see coming. They'll force Colby to.
You see, I agree with Temba here, right? Me and Temba, we think alike when it comes to showbiz and when it comes to money, right? And the draw. In pro wrestling, they call it draw. If you are a big draw, there is a problem in the welterweight division. I swear. The UFC, if you ask Dana would have preferred Colby to win that title off Leon. Because Leon is not a draw. Because I believe if Leon had won, he's probably going to call at least 3 people out. He's going to try to get that Usman trilogy, which is something that the casuals would want to see. He's going to try to be like, oh, I'm going to go fight in the middleweight, which the casuals would love to see. Anybody against Colby, the casuals would be interested because Colby would try to get it. But now look at the top contenders in welterweight: Bilal Muhammed and Leon Edwards, right? Bilal Muhammed knows how to sell fights, but the issue is his fighting style is what is not interesting to casuals, right? Leon Edwards is incredible fighter, striker, grappler, everything in they do. But the problem is, he no fit sell fight. He cannot sell fight, right? Then we've got Shavkat. I've not actually heard him speak English before. Does he speak English?
Yeah, he doesn't speak English. He needs a translator. Always needs a translator.
Oh my gosh. You see what they talk about? You see the welterweight division is in shambles right now. Is it
And
absolute shambles?
incoming MVP is there. He's been thrown into the mix.
Ah,
So
bro,
let's
MVP is not in the level. Is not a high level fighter like that people are
Yeah, but
thinking.
let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. You need new blood into the veins of the whatever division. So let's see what happens with MVP. I want to believe, he's
Bro,
gonna bring
the person that needs to be up there that is going to sell fights for us is none other than the answer, Temba Gorimbo. I'm telling
and
you,
that is why he is the answer. But then he's
if
got
Temba,
some,
if Temba, if Temba just wins, I believe if Temba wins his next fight, he's probably gonna get a ranked opponent next. And once he gets into those numbers, when he gets a number next to his name, I think it's going to be up and up for Temba. Um, Honestly, again, I don't think MVP he's just flamboyant. I would say he's a flamboyant fighter. He
exactly.
is he is not he's not a championship material, right?
So you think?
Unless
So
unless
you
they,
think?
unless they hot shot him.
Yeah, that is very possible, right? So
At
I don't
2024, my man, I said it and watch it. You see,
by
Tamba is
God's grace.
dropping his
By God's grace.
yeah. And also Temba also said I will win my next fight, bro. First round KO win for me. Yes. Yes, brother. First of all, I'm not saying you should go chasing the bonus, but when you get that bonus and then
Give this man a
like
spot.
they put a microphone in this man's mouth. There's problem. There's no problem actually, but what I'm going to say is that he's going to market himself for the next fight. Temba understands, man. He understands.
Yeah, definitely.
Let me go to the comments a bit. We've got Tumbosuni saying if they want marketable Ian Gary, but with all the shit. Yo, that's actually somebody. Ian
It's
Gary,
just
the all the shit around him is still selling him. There is
it's
no
still
bad
love.
press. It's just making him just look like a clown that is letting a woman dictate his life, right? But
Bad publicity is good publicity.
yeah, but he is actually super popular now, and then he's Irish, and we understand what that means. Uh, Bilal couldn't sell a fish to water with his style. I think Bilal is good guy, but just that's the truth. Courageous says then I almost skipped Dricus for his title shot. Courageous also said MVP is overrated. Uh, the UFC loves me, and everyone at UFC wants to see me rise. It's different. Yo, Temba, all of us love you, man. There was a time in the MMA space that it took like for a whole month. Every MMA page you go na Temba you dey see. And if Temba puts out a show in February, I should say when Temba puts out a show in February, they will be reminded. Courageous Empire says, I really want to see Temba versus New Magni. Huh. Ian is married to a wag. Okay. All
My
right.
goodness.
Um.
My goodness.
All right. Let's move on. We've spent a lot of time on this. Ish. Is it time for the UFC to release Tony Ferguson? How about Tony Ferguson versus Jim Miller at UFC 300 in Loser Lives Matter? But the thing is, Jim Miller. I say Jim Ferguson. Jim Miller is not on a losing streak like Ferguson is. I don't think there's ever been a fighter that is on a losing streak like Ferguson and still signed to the UFC.
7 fight wins. I said win streak, losing streak. It's crazy. And the only
It's
reason why
crazy.
he's UFC is because of that 12 fight win streak he had. It's crazy how you're on an upward trajectory and now you're
Mhm.
falling very steeply, right? And I think it's because of the name. Tony Ferguson is a draw, like you guys say in your pro wrestling thing, right? He's a big draw in any pay-per-view. This is a former interim champion, and this is somebody who was meant to fight Khabib.
Wait, ladies and gentlemen, we have a breaking news. Pam, 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 pam. Let me even drop some music for you guys. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is incredible right now. We have a special announcement. We have a special announcement from Temba Gorimbo. By the way, shout out to Dustin Poirier. He donated $10,000 to me to go fix cataract on old people in my village. He is a good man. Man, shout out to
God bless Dustin.
Dustin the Diamond Poirier. Shout out to his he does this sauce. Oh gosh, I was trying to plug his
Poor
hot sauce
sauce.
bar.
Yeah, pour your hot
Yeah,
sauce.
yeah, yeah, that one. Yeah, yeah. Shout out to him and his business. Wow, that's incredible, man. $10,000. And by the way, shout out to Temba. Temba got honored winning the Fighters Awards. The Fighting Spirit Awards at the World MMA Awards. He was there live in person to accept it on stage. The only thing is, the broadcast was on ESPN and it wasn't showing in the UK, so we never really got to get a soundbite out of it. But again, shout out to Temba Gorimbo. This is incredible, incredible news. We love to see positive things like this happening, and yeah. All right. I hope that sound that I put was not very distracting.
A win is a win.
Yeah. All right. We got some Jesse here. He should stay retired. He should have retired on Saturday. People tell him to stop. It's crazy. The UFC should give Tony a winnable fight. Dustin is a stand-up guy. Dustin is a man. But yo, here's the thing with Tony Ferguson, or should I say with fighters. Fighters are fighters because of their strong mindset and their stubbornness.
Mentality.
You would have to have a fighters, all of them, they have something different than us. Because me, I cannot go into a cage and hit and be hit. Neither can you. We don't have that mentality to go and be like, okay, I'm going in there, someone hits me and I hit him. It's a different type of animal to get in there. There's a special type of stubbornness that you need to be in there. And sometimes that stubbornness comes to effect, like we are seeing with Tony Ferguson right now. I believe Tony is being stubborn in the sense that he is like, he doesn't see himself as a scrub. I'm not a scrub, as a guy that is getting old. He wants to continue fighting, and it's going to be hard to talk him out of it, I think. And as everybody has been saying, I don't think Tony Ferguson is going to lose any credibility, but it's just sad for us MMA fans to be seeing this go on and on and on. It's happened 7 times, actually. Actually, the first one I saw was when he fought Justin Gaethje. I think that's when it started during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Bro, Gaethje put a beating on him. That was a punishment. So,
well, to be honest, I think it was unfair giving him Paddy Pimblett. That guy's way younger than him. Give him somebody's age.
He's way younger, but it's still. I think he can beat him. He can beat Paddy.
How?
Paddy is overrated, but ish. I don't know. The UFC, they don't have easy fights there. The only easy fight I can think about is Diego Sanchez, and he has left. So there isn't any. He's not easy.
I'm not saying it's easy, but then they're around the same age. So stop feeding him with killers that are up and coming, trying to make a name off.
No, if you look at the fighters that he's fought, the guys that have given him all the L's, you will just be like, wow, wow, that's incredible, the amount of talent that he's lost to. But I would hate for him to just announce on Instagram like, oh, I'm done fighting. I would have rather him removed his gloves and ceremoniously retired in the middle of the cage. That would have been more poetic. But again, whenever he chooses to retire, we're not going to see him any less. He was a legend. He is a legend. All right. Okay, guys, let's move to the next one. Thoughts on the MVP signing and the way it was announced. So this was announced in the press conference. You know, when after a pay-per-view, Dana White goes and sit down and he reads the numbers. And he's like, oh, guys, we have numbers for 299. Here are some fights. MVP versus Kevin Holland. Like, what?
Whoa.
They're like,
whoa.
dude, dude, you don't just talk about things like this and move on. Why are you just saying MVP and this guy? Because just last week, we had this talk because MVP and Cedric Doumbé squared off in the middle of a PFL cage in Ireland. And I said it in this podcast. I said, he is not signed officially. I
So
think
usually,
MVP is just he's just trolling because me and my head I was thinking maybe he's trying to it's a tactics it's a negotiation tactics trying to pull UFC's hand. But because of the fight that was announced today, I would say that he had already signed with the UFC a long time ago, even before he stepped into the cage, the PFL cage with Cedric Doumbé. Because MMA is not like pro wrestling. You can go to rival companies cage or corner a fighter. It's okay, no matter what rivalry is going on, you can still be there. So I don't think it was that much of a big deal. A lot of people have quickly reported, oh, MVP has signed with PFL, he's going to main event one of the PFL cards with Cedric Doumbé. Oh, come on, guys, you guys are there. They played you guys. It was something that
but
was
then
cool.
I'm
It was
excited.
something it was something cool that happened in Ireland and that was clickbait worthy, and it was what it is. And uh and uh sorry, I got distracted with a comment here. I'll get to this comment. It's a very important one. But what do you think about MVP getting into the UFC?
I think the other time I was on a pod, right, and I said that if the UFC did not sign MVP, that would have been a very big flop on the side of the UFC. Because I, for
Mhm.
one, really want to see MVP in the UFC, and he's a great addition. He's a great talent. A lot of people do not see him as championship material, right? But then he's going to inject new blood, fresh blood into the welterweight,
You
veins.
know, what's
So,
funny? You know how I see. Yeah, go ahead. Go
how,
ahead.
how,
Sorry.
okay, that being said, right, I strongly feel like his announcement could have been more ceremonious. That is how I feel. But then I am
Yeah,
excited. I was
it
telling
was.
Temba just before we started the pod, right, that I'm so
Mm.
excited with MVP, coming on board, and great stuff is gonna happen. You'll see flamboyant
Yeah.
style. We want to see that.
Yeah,
That's
the
that's
flamboyant fighter. Yeah, here's the way I look at it. I'm not calling fighters toys, but from a billionaire point of view, Dana White point of view, I feel like MVP is another toy that he has now to like play with, in the sense that okay, I've got this toy and I've got this toy. Let's pair them together to fight. And putting MVP in the mix of the welterweights, that is a horrible division in my opinion, at the top of the card. Um, I think putting MVP in the mix, it's going to make it a bit more enticing. Because again, these people, they are in the business of money, and their champion in the welterweight is not drawing money for them. So putting MVP in there, if MVP fights someone that is an up and comer and he wins, that's very good. He's a clear cut number one contender, right? But then if he loses, then he has passed some of his clout to whoever that young guy is. Do you understand? So I think regardless,
it's a
there's always
win-win.
there'll always be a positive year coming out of this. All right. So Jesse here said Lucien Keita should be your guys' comeback African fighter after the injury he sustained and came back and got a phenomenal win. Shout out to Lucien Keita. We did see him last week, or was it 2 weeks ago, in Octagon MMA. He won back the featherweight title, I believe. And I think Lucien is one of those guys that we would likely see in the UFC next year. When you see him fight out there in Octagon, it's like man against boys. That guy got power, and he's already getting the star treatment. It's quite popular. Is it in Belgium? Where's Octagon at again? I forgot. But like when you see the documentaries that they put out about him, you would see like dude is driving a Mercedes already. So shout out to Lucien Keita, and I believe,
Bravo.
and his English is pretty good. I think if he comes to the UFC, it's going to be he's going to make a lot of noise. Shout out to Lucien Keita. I think Jesse is talking about the African Fighters Awards that we're doing. We do not have a comeback fighter category. But probably we'll do that next maybe in the next edition. Our first wait, Lucien Keita is not from Guinea. I think he's from Guinea, Temba, isn't he? Yeah, so the African Fighters Awards, our first edition we had 5 awards. This one that we're doing, we have 11 awards to hand out. Uh all All right, Temba says he's from Namibia or Botswana, and Jesse says he's going to be at Octagon for another year. They are having $1 million tournament, so after that he'll go to the UFC. Damn, Jesse is following everything. Thank you,
Updates.
Jesse.
Updated.
Jesse, we need you in our Patreon, man. Sign up to Patreon and be dropping us topics, please, and then be giving us knowledge so we can go and be looking at these fighters. If you don't want to pay, or you cannot pay, sorry, you can join for free. There's an option to join our Patreon for free. Please do that, and you can always drop your podcast topics for us. Appreciate it, Jesse. All right, moving on. How significant is one championship signing with Sky Sports? So this is something that will be exciting for people in the United Kingdom. I actually
Super
have an
exciting.
article. I have an article here. It was published by one.com, and it says One Championship, the world's largest mixed martial arts, actually largest martial arts organization, today announced an exclusive partnership with Sky Sports, Europe's leading sports broadcaster, to air one event across the UK and Ireland. The partnership will kick off with one Fight Night 18 Super Leg versus Mahmoudi. Sky provides its customers unraveling volume of Premier League, blah 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 for years. Our UK fans have been clamoring for one to be broadcasted on one of the region's major networks today, blah 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 blah. I don't think we were clamoring. You know why? Because the fights were always free for us on YouTube or the one championship website. So we were not clamoring. we were still enjoying it for free. But
And easy
regardless,
access.
this is incredible. Uh, it's going to it's going to get to more homes. We would love to see that. At least now that they've signed Rogue, we'll get to sit on the comforts of our home to see Rogue. It's a very, very huge deal, I believe, for them. Um, but is this something? Okay, so here's the thing. If you don't know about one championship, right? They don't have a pay-per-view model. They claim to have the widest range or the most plenty eyes that are watching them. That is because they are free on TV. So if you've got free TV, you probably would have one championship. And that is basically their model. So because it's free TV and it's across Asia, they've got millions and millions and millions of people watching it. So hence why it's the most watched in the world. Now with Sky Sports, I believe people would watch it more because it's now on TV. That's like their biggest claim to being like a juggernaut. They'll be like, we have the most people watching us. Yes, you do, but you don't make the most money because they don't pay to watch you. But yes, shout out to one championship. It's a good thing that we've got them here now. But what do you think, Demola?
So the thing with one championship is you oh, okay. I was going to say that people should note that one championship is not just an MMA championship, right? So they do
Mm,
other combat sports. So I think they do super fights, they do Muay Thai. They're very big on Muay Thai as well, aside from
mm.
MMA. And then they do like other combat sports. So they're big in
Like
Asia,
grappling and stuff.
right?
Mm,
Yes, they're quite big in Asia and
mm,
fantastic model, putting out free content. But the interesting thing is, if you are going to be big globally, you shouldn't just be big
mhm,
in one continent, right? You should
mhm.
try to have viewers, across the various
Yeah,
continents
but
of the
they
world. And
always have. I agree, but they always have the issue of like timing because if you're putting your cards in Asia, then it's first of all, it's not prime time in Europe because Asia is way ahead in time. It's not prime time in America because it's way early in the US. So you see, even if you put it in free TV, right, in these areas, it's hard for us to watch it. You get me?
but then the
Maybe if
UFC, we stay up all night watching the UFC. Why?
Yeah, but that is
Can't
America now. That's the big apple. That's the big apple. That's the big apple. That's America. America, whatever they do, the world has to follow when it comes to entertainment.
Exactly. So the thing is, aside from giving people the live fights, you can always give people replays, for free. And I want to believe that the partnership with Sky Sports, yeah, they would be able to bring, especially casuals to the sport, because really casuals are
Hmm.
the ones that pay the most money, bring in the most income for the sport. So it's a really big one, and I love to see them expand. I love to see them expand. Europe, yeah, it's for the taking. America for the taking, and Africa, come on, they would now like be truly, truly global. It's
All
it's
right,
a step in the
all
right
right.
direction.
We've come to the part in this show where, sorry, oh no, this isn't it. So we've come to the part of this show where we will talk about the some fighters that fought over the weekend. All right. So we've got South Africa's Nkosi Ndebele just won the Brave CF Flyweight Championship, handing Jose Torres his second loss ever. Should the UFC make a play for him? First of all, if you see that fight, if you see that fight, Ndebele pieced up. He pieced up Jose Torres. Like if you see Jose Torres' face, it's like razor blades sliced him open everywhere. It was a very, very incredible striking display. I think it was the first time in a title fight that I have ever seen a fighter submitted by waving his hands like, I'm not doing again. Did you see it?
I did not cut that fight.
So, how the fight ended, it was, I think, the third round or the fifth round. And Indebele was piecing him, was picking him apart, was picking him apart. And Jose Torres stepped back and did this, like, I'm not
That's
doing, and the
crazy.
ref called it off. So then
It's
the announce was,
really
the fight was officially announced as a submission, quitting submission. I forgot how they worded it. It's just a weird,
cool.
weird way to end the fight. But shout out to
Did
Indebele.
he speak?
He,
Did he speak or he
eh?
just waved his hand? Did he
He's
speak
like,
or
I don't.
just
Obviously, there's no microphone on them, but he probably told the ref, "I'm done. I'm done. I can't. I can't
really?
anymore."
That would be a verbal
Yeah.
submission.
All right, so we've got
That's
South Africa's Pumi the Tobo Nkuta returned victorious at CFFC, that's Cage Fury Fighting Championship 128, after a 2-year layoff. What's next for him? So Pumi was a champion at Cage Fury. He was, I think, the flyweight champion, and he got injured. I believe he got some metal things put in his hands. I'm not very, very sure what it was exactly, but it's starting to look like that because he posted some X-ray shots, and he thought his career was going to be over, and then he made a comeback recently. He's someone that fight. He trains out of Serra Logo. Is that the name of that gym? Where
so Aljo.
Aljo and Davalishvili.
Merab Dvalishvili, brother.
Yes,
Got the
yeah,
name right.
yeah. So yeah, he trains with them. They are very high on him, those guys, because they always they go to corner him when he fights. And something about him, again, he is a very, very good promo. Fumi Nkuta, incredible promo. By the way, CM Punk is a commentator on that promotion, and he has called a lot of Pumi's fight, Pumi Nkuta. Shout out to Pumi Nkuta. Love to see him back. And I'm sure if he continues, we are going to see him in the UFC. And because of his mic skills, he's probably going to make that flyweight division very, very, very much more exciting. All right. Morocco's Rizlan Zouak became possibly the first female African MMA champion in history by avenging her only loss, or one of her losses, to Giselle Moreira at RSFC 18. Huge for African MMA. Yes, yes, yes. Rizlan is nominated to be the female African MMA fighter of the year in our African Fighters Awards, and well, she obviously made us look good, because after we announced the nomination, she went ahead and won a title. So it's almost a decider, because in that category, she's the only champion. So shout out to Rizlan. It's incredible to see her. There is actually an omission we made. I'm just going to put this out there. We made an omission in the female division, because there's this fighter called Nora. She was fighting in UAE Warriors, and now she has fought in the UFC. She got signed this year and she won her first fight. She's an incredible fighter, but we totally, totally forgot about her. She was supposed to be in that category, and she was in our DMs. I was like, "Are you guys being funny?" And I felt horrible, horrible, because I
No way.
totally forgot about her. And she has a very,
No
very
way.
decorated resumes. So shout out to Nora. It's I'm very, very pained about this one. I was having this discussion with Farouk, like it's horrible, horrible. But yeah, that's it, guys. All right, King Dems, you got anything before we go?
Ah, maybe nothing really. I'm just excited about MVP, right, in the UFC. So fireworks, yeah. I'm excited about 2024. There's a lot of great stuff that's gonna happen.
All right, I'm going to play some music. And when this is a new thing here in the show, when you are hearing the music, it means that we are about to leave. Ladies and gentlemen, as usual, thank you for staying with us today. In the comment section, you've been live. Shout out Temba, shout out Courageous Empire, shout out to oh boy, got to look at the names now. Jesse, Tumbosun. Shout out to you guys, man. We really, really appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming back, and please consider joining our Patreon, because it keeps us going, man. So we keep on coming every week, and then the little community we've got for African fighters will continue to expand and grow. Shout out to King Demola. He accepted to sponsor one of the awards that we're going to give out. I've not forgotten about that, King Dems. I'm going to hit you up on WhatsApp so we conclude on that.
Hey,
and yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's been real. Thank you, and this is the African Fighters. We are.